I have sold well over 30,000 electronics in my eBay store over the last 5 years, totaling to over $1 million in sales. In this video, I'm gonna be sharing the top 15 electronics across my entire eBay career that I have sold. If you guys learned anything in this video, drop a thumbs up, comment, or subscribe me, guys. The number one thing, guys, that I am always looking out for when I'm outsourcing for electronics is gonna be cameras. Cameras is one category. I'm gonna break it down into like 5 different tiers, so that's just a bonus. So make sure you guys drop a thumbs up for that. My favorite kind of cameras that I look out for when I'm outsourcing is digital cameras, the compact ones that are smaller. And my favorite brands from the digital cameras that I mainly look out for are gonna be Canon, Sony, and Nikon. They each have their own little lines of digital cameras within those brands. And for Canon, the Canon PowerShot models, and there are tons of different models within the PowerShot brand of Canon. And there are tons of different model numbers after the name PowerShot. And they start from like PowerShot 100 up to like 1,000 or something like that, and they change as they go, as they got newer. But there are tons of different kinds of PowerShots. There's some that are bigger, but the compact ones are the ones that I mainly look out for in all these brands right here. Next up is Sony. Sony has its line and it's called CyberShot, and there are tons of different models. There's probably like hundreds that I don't even know of, but I can tell when I see one when it's a Sony CyberShot and whether it's going to be a better one as well. And for Nikon, it's going to be the Nikon Coolpix / whatever model number it is. All of these brands come with different tiers within each model and each sector of that brand. You're looking at one of these old digital cameras, the megapixels matters a lot. And if you find one that's like 15 megapixels and up, you're going to be in for a treat, and it's going to be around $100 and up. There are some older models within these categories that are like 6 megapixels, 5 megapixels. Those are still going to sell pretty good for like $40, $50. But all the other ones that are like 15 megapixels and up or 20 megapixels and up, you're in a different territory, and those have a much higher resolution for cameras. And I personally have one myself that I just took on vacation. It takes amazing pictures when they're like 20 megapixels and up, and most people look out for those more. So if you find a digital camera that has that many megapixels and up, that's when you know you have a good one. So digital cameras is the first section I'm going to talk about, and the next is going to be camcorders. Camcorders are the ones that usually have like a little strap. Here's an example right here. I would look out for them in those same 3 brands. Those are like the top 3 brands for cameras. There are tons of other brands. An extra bonus one is going to be Fujifilm. Probably a list of like 100 other brands, but those are just the top ones that I'm mainly looking out for. They're the most universally known brands out there for cameras. I'm going to keep it simple with you guys and just start off with those basic brands. Camcorders are something I am always looking out for. Like I said, the megapixels matters, the model number matters, but I want you guys to get familiar with at least seeing them and searching them up and seeing how much they go for on eBay. Just type in the brand and the model number on eBay. You're gonna get a good idea of how much it goes for. Next up in the camera category is gonna be lenses. A lot of these lenses are absolutely insane. Someone in my Discord community actually mentioned that they found one that was like $20,000 one time, and they told me to look out for lenses. I had found a camera that I had sold for $600, and they told me to look up the lens. I ended up selling the body alone for $600. I sold the lens for $500. That was crazy. And next up is film cameras. Those film cameras can be really crazy. Sometimes they're not worth nothing at all, and sometimes they could be worth about this much right here. Last up for cameras is gonna be DSLR cameras, and those are the bigger body ones. Those are the ones where the real money is gonna be made. That's when you get into the range of like $800, $700, $600, or $1,000 and up. There's some that are thousands of dollars. So just get familiar with this style of body of camera and be on the lookout for those, because sometimes they're massive, massive money. 2 is gonna be video games and video game consoles. That's kind of obvious, but I wanna overemphasize the video games that I mainly look out for. I don't get a bunch of Xbox Ones. I don't get a bunch of PS5s. When I get video games, I mainly get Wii's, Xbox Originals, Xbox 360s, PS2s, and PS3s, and the occasional PS4. I get the older ones, which I know aren't as hot, aren't as used, but they sell great and they're consistent, and you usually find them all the time. I find them all the time. I have posted a lot of videos on here in my short form content of me buying 30 video game consoles, all from like one vendor at the flea market, and they're out there all the time. Every time I'm out there, I find at least one of these. The best one that I have recently been able to buy and sell is the original Xbox. If it has cables and if it has a remote, maybe a game, you're gonna be selling that puppy within a day or 2. All right, guys, next up is walkie-talkies and handheld radios. These are one of my favorite things to pick up. I find them all the time. The bigger, the better. The more buttons, if they have a screen or something like that, the better. There's a ton of walkie-talkies that aren't worth much, that are only worth like $8 pre-owned as a set. There's some that are worth well over $100 all the time. Number 4 is going to be microphones. This is an example of a wireless microphone that's sought after right now, but it is very hard to find something like this that's more modern. This is something that's like pretty new, but one thing I've always been able to buy and find are the wireless ones that are for like singing or karaoke. I would just suggest looking up the ones that look more pristine than others. The heavier they are, the more buttons they have, and just the craftsmanship really counts when it comes to microphones. So search them up. I have found microphones that are like $400, and they weren't even a brand that I even knew whatsoever. It was just in a case. It looked pristine, so I just searched it up. Got it for like 20 bucks, sold it for a couple $100s. Look out for microphones. All right, guys, this is one thing that has been a staple for the longest time. So drop a thumbs up for this one right here. It's gonna be old stereos and stereo faces / stereos in general. Obviously, if you can find stereos that have like a touchscreen, that have Apple Play and all that, obviously go for those. Those are the modern ones. A lot of them can be hundreds of dollars, but the ones I'm talking about mainly are gonna be the old ones that are skinny, that go like in a 1999 Honda Civic. For some reason, they sell extremely fast, and I always find them extremely cheap. Sometimes I find people with bundles of them. And I sell the face plates alone for like $25 and up sometimes, and then the entire thing for like $40. So keep an eye out for stereo faces, stereos, and obviously like the newer ones that have touchscreens and stuff like that. Also, guys, this is a plus right here, so drop a thumbs up for this. The OEM original stereos from like Toyota, Ford, Nissan, Honda, it doesn't matter. If it's original from a certain car, especially if it's older, you're gonna sell it for much more money. I sold a 1970s Ford F-150 for like $150, and I got it for like $10 because it just looks like some old junk that no one is looking out for. And there's money to be made in the old radios, stereos, OEM. OEM is important to add to the title because it just lets the people know that it's original from the factory. Make sure you guys add that to the title. All right, guys, so next up is staying in the topic of cars is gonna be the key fobs for cars. The newer, the better, but I always stick to old ones. Like, honestly, I have a little 2005 Toyota Matrix. Like that little key fob right there, if you were to sell it, it's like $25, and they sell really quickly, especially if they're original. You can tell if they're original if they have the logo in the back and they have like an FCID number on the back, and then you can just search it up with Google Lens, or you can type in the exact numbers. But Google Lens does a great job of letting you know which one it is. There are tons of different key fobs, and if they're original, they are much better. Make sure you add OEM in the title. That makes a massive, massive difference. There's so many mass-produced key fobs from China that are just replacements that are not original. Mercedes, BMW, Jaguar. Pristine key fobs, pristine brands equal more money. I remember one of the first things that really opened my eyes with eBay, of the money glitch that eBay is, was buying my first remote control, and the next thing on the list is remote controls. I bought a remote control for the first time ever, and I bought it for $1. My dad told me to buy it. I was with him at the flea market, and he kind of lobbed it over. He's like, "Oh, I think that's a good one. Just grab it for $1." And I remember I got home, I was like a freshman in high school, and I posted it up, and it sold the same day for $35. And I was just astonished at that. And ever since then, I've had a thing for remote controls. So keep an eye out for remote controls, guys. The more buttons, the more screens, the more high-tech it looks, the better it's gonna be. A plus is gonna be remote controls for like massage chairs. For some reason, people that buy massage chairs always lose them for some reason, and they're always looking for them, and they usually control the entire chair. So if they break it or lose it, they need to buy the remote. So if you find something that says top, bottom, or massage feet or something like that, that is a massage chair remote control. Search up all the remote controls. Any kind of remote control with a keyboard is gonna be more pristine than one that doesn't. And like I said, look out for the remote controls with screens. All right, guys, next up is something that I feel like is slept on a lot, and it's gonna be iPods. iPods, the older ones, have been doing amazing for me, especially the iPod Classics. Drop a thumbs up for that one because I know someone is gonna find one immediately, and I want you to come back to this video and thank me and give me a commission, 5%. I'm kidding, guys, but yeah, iPod Classics do amazing for me. Like, even if they don't work, if I charge them up, I always have cables. If they don't work, I can still sell them for parts, and they actually sell really well. For parts, they go for like $40, but it all depends on the exact model of it and the gigabytes. The gigabytes matter a lot. If you find an iPod that works great, that's like 120 gigabytes, that has movies and music in it, you can charge a premium for it. Other kinds of iPods that I'm always looking out for are iPod Shuffles and the Nanos. And obviously there are many different generations of all those. Those are the main ones that I'm looking out for when it comes to iPods. I would not mess with the iPod Touches too much, just because a lot of them end up getting locked with the password. And with the iCloud and all that, it's just a headache. I bought so many iPod Touch collections, and I ended up just usually selling them for parts as a whole, because once you start plugging them in, they say iCloud locked or something like that, and then it's super hard to unlock them. So I try not to mess with the iPod touches unless you buy it off the person and they show you it already turned on and all that. Then I give you the green light for that. But with the iPod Classics, Nanos, and the Shuffles, there's no error there. You literally just plug it in and it's ready to go. No passwords, no iCloud in the way, and they sell great. So make sure you guys look out for those. All right, guys, next up we have keyboards. There's tons of different kinds of keyboards for different reasons. There's some people that do gaming. They need a very precise keyboard, and they're willing to pay $80, $90 for a used one, or $200, $300 for a brand new one. There are some that are way more accurate than others, and for people that play video games, those are the best ones. One thing that I always look for that's more of my bread and butter are gonna be like the Apple keyboards that take batteries, or the rechargeable ones. That's something that I find all the time, and a bonus in there is gonna be mouses or mice. I always think I say that wrong. I think it's mouses. Look for a mouse. Look out for the mouse. Mouses. There's tons of great mouses out there, guys, so just keep an eye out for them. Logitech makes great ones. Obviously, Apple, Alienware. So this is one thing that I am always buying, and it's gonna be security cameras. This is an example of a security camera set that I just found. It came in this little Ziploc with the manual, and it is a Lorex quick start guide outdoor camera, and it's colored. It comes with 2 cameras, it comes with the cables, and it came with the charger. There's tons of different brands, but Lorex is one of the ones that I find most consistently, because they mass produce the most amount of cameras for consumers to just install them themselves. Be careful for ADT cameras. Normally they're locked to an account. One time I got in trouble for that, so be careful with like ADT. Obviously Ring cameras are a great thing as well. Another brand that's really good to look out for is Arlo and Blink. Those are very, very good security cameras that have been mass produced recently, and they go really fast, so keep an eye out for Blink and Arlo cameras. All right, guys, so next up we have Dyson vacuums, Dyson products in general, and it's gonna be a 2-for-1 right here, so make sure you guys drop a thumbs up for that. So Dyson products have always been a great thing for me. Obviously the vacuums are what they're mainly known for, but one thing that's very under the radar right now is gonna be like Dyson hair straighteners or hair blowers, and Dyson remote controls for like fans, or the fans themselves do great. So keep an eye out for that. These are examples of some of the vacuums that are out right now. Dyson V12s, they have the bigger ones, older models right here that I always find right here. These are the ones that are most common because they were mass produced, and they are the older models that people are just trying to get rid of to get the newer ones. All right, guys, so back in the day when I used to have my massive electronic eBay store, I used to have 16,000 electronics. I used to have a ton of receivers, a ton of them. I sold hundreds of them. And it's one of the, it used to be one of my favorite things to sell back in the day, because I was always finding them where I was buying the electronics. So I would just grab them, list them. If they didn't work, I would sell them for parts. All the things that I just showed you guys right now, every single item can be sold as not working. That's the beauty of electronics. If it's a super expensive item and it is broken, you can sell it for parts. I made so much money selling stuff not working for parts. If this microphone broke right now, I spent like $150 on it. I could sell it for $60, not working, shattered. That's just crazy. So make sure, guys, if you find something expensive, if you find something worth picking up, you could still sell it as not working. If you buy a video game console and it didn't work, you could sell it as not working still. And that's one of my most important negotiating tactics when I'm outsourcing, which I post a lot of sourcing videos on here, is when I'm buying a lot of electronics, I usually tell people, hey man, I'm not gonna cry about it if they don't work. So give me a better deal. If they work, great. If they don't, I'm not gonna cry about it. And they usually give me a much better deal than anyone else, because I'm willing to deal with the consequences of buying the electronics like that. Receivers and hi-fi stereo systems. Some of these can be absolutely crazy. That's one thing I really like about electronics compared to clothing, is that no matter what the item is, you can usually find it right away just with brand and model number. With clothing, there's a ton of nuances that make it much harder to find an exact item on eBay. With electronics, you can find it immediately. Guys, number 15 is gonna be speakers and subwoofers. Speakers and subwoofers were a huge staple in my business for many years. Got a lot of audio equipment back in the day, and I still look out for it till this day. Bose is a great brand, Yamaha, Klimsch, Bowers & Wilkins, Samsung. There's tons of brands out there. If you see a massive subwoofer, at least give it a try. The more buttons in the back, the more stuff that looks more complex, the better it's gonna be on eBay, the more it's gonna cost. The only thing is that some of them are really big, and that's a hassle. If you don't mind storing that and shipping that, that is going to be a great source of income for you guys. My name is Dave Palillo, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. I've been selling on eBay and been around the eBay business for like 12 years, and the last 5 years I've been fully committed to just eBay. I used to have a 16,000 item eBay store, and now I do a lot of clothing and shoes as well, with some electronics mixed in there. Drop a thumbs up, guys. If you guys want to see another video where I break down the top 33 items overall in my entire eBay career that I've sold, make sure you guys drop a thumbs up. Let's try to get to 500 likes. If we get to 500 likes, guys, I'll make that video very soon. Post it next week if we get to the 500 likes, guys. Break down 33 items that everyone is overlooking. Make sure you guys drop a thumbs up for that. Consider subscribing, guys. Hopefully this helps someone out. If you guys find anything, come back to this video and comment if you found something right away. Catch you guys later.